So with that said, we don't have those challenges, which is great.
Right.
Now, what I like to do is create something that we call a current state. So it's basically a snapshot, a current evaluation of where you guys are at. I look at this audit. Oh, excuse me. Hang on one second. I'm trying to figure out how to minimize this so I can go back this way. Sorry, guys. There we go. So yeah, I look at it from a branded and non-branded aspect. So what I mean by branded is that anything that contains the organizational name and or geolocation, and or if you have specific people within the organization. So that goes along with your branded themes, your branded keywords. These are visitors that are familiar with your brand. They're either current clients or they've been referred by word of mouth. And then the third element is if they're doing research on your firm. And in your industry, there's a tremendous amount of research done on the front end from the user aspect. Mm-hmm. So with that said, it's important to rank very high for those branded terms, specifically number one. People typically expect that. And that's what we see currently. So that's good. So we have that minimum baseline standard that anything Allen Austin, and I don't know if you guys can see my screen here, the spreadsheet.
Not yet.
Okay, let me share so you guys can see. Don't be scared of all my tabs open, so I don't mean to frighten you.
Oh, I'm the same way. Don't worry about it.
Wait, look, we can't judge because,
it's Wednesday, so it's pretty hot on the flight deck. So so as you can see this spreadsheet, this is, I use a couple of tools just to establish a continuity. Whenever I use third-party scraping tools for indexing, I like to see the big picture. Some tools grab all the keywords, some grab the main, but I want to see the big picture. So I combine three tools into one and I create this spreadsheet, like I said, your current state. And we start off with the keywords, okay? So these are all your keywords that this tool can pick up, and relevancy or not, just kind of getting the snapshot. So like I said, there's some good things here. Like I said, from a branded aspect, anything with Allen Austin and executive search, just the name alone combined with the keyword, you guys are ranking number one. As you can see, where were those results? Right here, see, Allen Austin, global executive search, you're ranked for number one. But again, that's people are doing research on your brand under those three conditions that I mentioned earlier. So it's important that we not only rank well for our branded positions, but we also rank well for our non-branded positions. So these are going to be keyword-driven searches. They're not familiar with your brand. And we could see that by, if you look for, let's find executive search in here, right? Or something related to that theme.
CMO executive search number 43.
Right. So that means that you're on page 4. So you're not going to get a whole lot of traction buried deep in the search results. So not terrible. Like to your point earlier, I think you guys kind of suspected that this was going on just from, you know, the amount of volume, the phone calls, the emails. And when you're deep in the pages like that for non-branded search, you know, that's typically the symptoms, if you will, you know, if I'm going to diagnose this like a physician would. So that's great. So what we do is we go into those pages after our audit and we look at kind of the structuring of the SEO elements, everything from the title tag to the meta tag description. We look at the H1s, the headlines, and the content. And we compile all that into relevancy scores. And those relevancy scores tell me, hey, this will start outranking those other firms that are ahead of you. So that is the drive within the first 30 and 60 days, is improving the relevant search terms that are applicable to your business and improving those page ranks, so that our goal is a minimum to get position 5 on page 1. We look at all the stats, and the majority of clicks occur within those positions. They significantly, exponentially decrease as you get to position 6, 7, 8, 9, and then off to page 2. I think it's like goes down to like 0.93 percentages of the overall click share once you get to page 2. So very, very thin. We do see some better numbers with mobile, with the more results button, so that is clicked more often. But again, we're grasping at straws at that point, and the traffic volume is very, very thin, even despite that added feature on a mobile platform, which does make it easier to render additional results. So any questions on the initial keyword kind of synopsis?
I don't have any questions.
Mm-hmm. And then what I'll be doing is taking the keywords that we talked about in our kickoff call and that we placed on the project planner. I'll be putting them in a reporting platform. We track those. I look at them every week, but we produce a report every month, and bi-monthly report that gives you that keyword, what we call our 3KM or 3 key metrics report. Okay, so
Right.
that will have all of your keywords that are relevant that we want to track, and the movements and the applicable session traffic from those keywords.
So just out of really quickly, can you go down, because I know what Rob and Liz have been kind of Google searching is top executive search or top retained search. Executive search firms Houston. Yeah, I saw that one on there. And I think it said we were like on page 16. Yeah, executive search Houston 13.
Yeah, your localized presence is much better than a statewide presence or a nationwide presence. So that's really what we're aiming for. And like I said, there are some very positive attributes about the current state of your site. And we want to build off of that. So we don't want to take away from any non-branded search at this point that you're receiving traffic from. So we want to build on those efforts while maintaining what we have now.
Perfect.
Cool. So keywords look good. That means your content's pretty relevant. A few minor adjustments, and we should definitely improve a lot of that existing page rank, like I said, within the 30 and 60-day range. So I'm excited to keep my eyes on that and report back to you. That would be in for the beginning of March. So we would have a full 30 days of data at that point. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Oh, this thing always gets in my way. Hang on. There we go. So our second part is I wanted to show you this while we're still talking about keywords. So this kind of just breaks down all of your organic keywords just in a summary basis. It gives you an idea of your ranking distribution. As you see, here's your top 1 through 3 positions. It's very, very, we have limited exposure there. A little bit better looking at our positions 4 through 10. But as you see, the majority of our exposure is pretty deep into page 2 and 3 respectfully. So some big opportunities there, which, sometimes when we do this and we look at it and your site's doing well, and it becomes difficult because it's like, well, they're doing the right things here and here and here. So how do we better that and, best represent you guys? Because to us, it's not all about just producing more traffic. I guess at the end of the day, when we get the audience dialed in and we have the right elements, then scaling is pretty easy to determine at that point. But I like to get the right traffic first, get the right audience, and then that's more efficient for you. This way you don't have irrelevant phone calls or someone saying, hey, what job openings do you guys have? We want to try to avoid those wasteful clicks, not just from a PPC aspect, but also just from an SEO aspect. So again, I put your these are the keywords that we were kind of looking at. So what I did is I pulled like one of the most popular domains out there. Not comparing apples to apples here, just looking at kind of the keyword competitive landscape, right? This firm may not do anything that you guys do, but they rank for a lot of the keywords that we want to rank for. And I did a side-by-side comparison as to why they're such a powerhouse and where we're at. And as you see, that very first keyword, they rank number 7. Not the best, but they get a lot of traffic from that, even though it's beyond the 5th position. And then we're deep in like page 10 territory here at 100. So we could see that, just by going through, you can see the clear differences in overall page rank and why it's important. So that's going to be an easy fix for me. Now, how far will this go within 30 to 60 days will be yet to see, but I'm going to push for as many relevant search terms as we can efficiently. Yeah, improving that page rank, and then we'll start to see some real traction and movement with these themed searches and the exposure and the location, and exposing us on a statewide and national flare.
Okay.
So going back, let's see, I think I covered all that there. Yep, that's your ranking distribution. Now I look at your backlinks, right? So that's the other element of it. We look for toxic links. We look for low, what they call page authority, because that can bring your authority down. And we want to make sure that we're not linked to anything nefarious or shady overseas, that type of stuff. That's not going to represent you guys. And I don't know what traffic you get from that, but I see a lot of spam submissions that come from that stuff. So I'll try to keep your inbox as clean as possible. So we go through all of these backlinks. Now, anything really, really bad, like these were pretty good. There was a few 7s here, and you see a few 8s. So we'll be evaluating that from a contextual standpoint and an overall site quality. As you see, they give you the site here. This is from DE, I believe, is Netherlands. So we'll look at that and see if that's relevant. You never know. Sometimes these weird backlinks have a good authority, or they actually have a low rating, but it's a quality site and people do use it. So we kind of have to consider all factors when looking at this. But on a general basis, we disavow these very, very low domain authority scores and linkage, and then we promote it with higher DA scores and PA scores to thus help push your average up. This also has a sustainability factor. So once we move and increase our overall page rank and exposure, this helps us kind of maintain those positions. Because there's other links from other websites that are linking into that specific anchor text. So they see it as, hey, that's a relevant source. So, and anytime that you're considered a relevant source with Google, double thumbs up. So, because they're in the business of producing the best results for their users. That's how they maintain their market share. When Google starts posting, displaying irrelevant sites that have nothing to do with the query that you typed in, their search traffic, their search volume or audience is going to drop like a rock, because then people won't trust it. So that's the whole name of the game. Whenever you can be an authoritative figure, answer questions, offer as much information so that the visitor can make the best informed decision possible, that's when Google really gives you those high page ranks and triple stars and stuff like that. So our 30 days, just to set the expectations, going through every page, going through our title tags, making sure that they're up in terms of the character requirements. We've had some recent updates in the last couple of weeks where they're kind of preferring a smaller title tag, and that's as they continue to transition towards their mobile first push. So that's an ongoing thing where Google's now preferring a mobile device, and anything that's search related and site quality, they view it through a mobile device first before they look at desktops and laptops. So we'll be looking at that and making sure that we have a direct match with our meta tag descriptions. And then again, making sure that content matches those two elements on the page. Then going through, I developed something called structured data or schema. So a couple of years back, it was pretty rudimentary. It was like hotel, local business. It was pretty simplistic and really wasn't specific enough. So there was quite a few people that were turned off by structured data, and rightfully so. Sometimes if you use the wrong type, it would actually limit your traffic and limit your exposure, so you had to be careful with that. Now we have many, many options for structured data, many, many types, all different professional associations from law to accounting to even executive search and things that, so it's gotten very, very granular, very, very specific. And I create this custom snippet that contains your audience, contains keywords, contains area served. It used to be able to help me render your Google search results from your GMB, but they've since tore that apart because there was a lot of abuse with it. So there are still ways to do it, but it's very, very challenging and time consuming. So I don't really push that anymore because sometimes it's not worth it. If I were to do 5 hours worth of work at my billable rate and it may or may not render, you guys might not like me too much. So whenever I do work on your account, I want you guys to think that like we're in parallel with you. So your success depends on my success. So whatever I do to the account, we have that vested interest that you need relevant traffic and more of it. You need all those good things, and I need those good things to happen. So so with the backlinking, we'll be looking at certain anchor text, and that will help us not just move up the page, but have that sustainability factor as well. Let's see. And then reporting, like I said, we have a water graph report. It's very, very interactive. You guys will all be shared on that. And then we'll have our our project folders with all of our monthly reports put in there and our timesheets submitted monthly. So you guys will be getting some alerts in the next couple of days that you'll be getting access to this, access to that. If you have any trouble or if it gives you a hard time, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do what I can to correct it and get you guys access.
Okay, what is it? What is it called again?
Oh, it's just through our Google Drive. So
Okay.
We'll be sharing some documents with you. So it'll be a 3KM report. You'll get an alert for AWR Cloud. So that's our keyword interface. And then every month we use something called Watergraph, just what? A graph. I know I say it funny. I'm from Florida, so yeah. I don't say well, but I had to stop. I almost did a few times. I'm like, wait, stop! Don't say that. You're officially Southern Mike.
You know what though? It's okay because we're both from the north.
All right, cool.
So
Yeah, I grew up in Long Island, so yeah, pretty funny. So yeah, we're real transparent with the reporting and our timesheets. So you guys get that every month. And like I said, you'll be getting some alerts as we move through the week. So if you have trouble accessing anything, just don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd rather we get this straightened out now. This way everyone can see the reports once they come out. And you guys don't have to email them to each other and do all that stuff.
Okay.
All right. So that's essentially the 30, 60, and then going into the 90-day mark. So, and then, like I said, once we get 30, 60 days past, again, it'll be kind of like a transition. Like we'll start looking at terms that are typically a little bit more longer tail. They don't have a whole lot of volume, but it's expanding the reach. So really the point is to get the right audience from a non-branded aspect while maintaining the good rankings that we have on the localized side and on our branded position. So that is our top priority at this point.
Okay.
And what does that really translate? Well, we're moving in new visitors that aren't familiar with your brand. We're sticking with the very relevant search terms. And then that's like propensity that traffic will have a higher propensity to convert because they found, just about everything they're looking for. So we try to satisfy, there's like 3 questions everyone asks while they're searching. Is this what I'm looking for? If it is, okay, what are the details? How much? Is this information or can I actually buy this? And then how do I provide my information to you? Right? And that's what we try to do. And we try to match all that as closely as possible.
Okay. Is there any information that you need from us over the next 30 days for, I guess, the next step in the process?
Yeah, I think we're all set up on our reporting. I think we have access to everything. I'm going to go through our checklists today, and if anything's outstanding, I'll go ahead and email you. But off the top of my head, I do apologize. I didn't double check on my way into the meeting. I was on the way out of the meeting, jumping into this one. So, but I believe, last on my notes, that we were all good.
Okay.
Is there anything you need from us?
Well, I was just going to make sure you have access to the website that is currently being designed, correct?
That I'm not 100% on, but I'll follow up with you right after this call and confirm that with you.
No, you don't. I gave you access to the current logins. We don't have logins for the new sites yet because they haven't been
pushed on a dev.
They didn't go live. And the reason for that is I really wanted to end, and that was going to be my next question, is to clarify if you'll need to do double work once. I don't want you to have to do double work. So
I'm glad you said that. So everything that I'm doing should transition to the new site. And I'll make sure your team is aware of what needs to come over. So I don't need to rebuild title tags and meta tag descriptions and all that, if that's your concern. So yeah.
Well,
because I want to make sure that the work that you're doing translates over to that new site rather than have them, do the new site and you're working on the old site and then you have to redo all of you. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I wanted to clarify on that point.
So this was, I talked about this with Steve as well. We need to get, and he knew we were in the middle of this as well. There are some issues that the current website designers have taken care of, such as like our mobile speed. And, we just need to get that once over, the picture speed and that type of thing. And tell me because this is what Steve and I talked about. We need to get the website that is being built put onto a test site and just have the developers say, okay, we're done, great job. And we say, okay, you're done. And we just take it over and put it on a test site. And then that realistically is the site that you guys need to be working off of, not
perfect
current site. So Shade, I think that's where we need to get the developers we just need to tell them, move over the content that's currently on the website, put it on there, make the quick changes you guys want to make, you and Darcy, and let's just keep moving forward because that's the site they need to work off of, not the current live site.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, see, that's my concern is, are we asking them? There are some changes that are quick, and there are some that I think Darcy, first of all, is still reviewing the website. I sent her the links, those the ones that the developers have on their server. So she's reviewing that, and we need to, I guess, come to terms on what changes they need to make.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, before we tell them to just make it live, because we don't want them to also have to go back and redo anything.
Well, that's the thing, is it's not going to be live. So we can talk to CloudSpace. They give us a site that we can temporarily host this on so that Thrive can go in and not go to the old website. They need to do everything in the new website. So we need to have a conversation with Darcy, and it needs to be, this has got to get done because Mike can't start his job until we get this done.
Okay, did you say cloud? I need to reach out to CloudSpace
We
to
can
see if
ask
there's a
CloudSpace,
place.
Mike, unless you guys have like a temporary platform that we could host the new website on.
We have
We've
done
done
that
that.
before. We have we have WP Engine, and all it does is just act as a hosting site, a platform while you're in development. I would assume that they have some sort of development platform because I'm not sure how they would kind of build it offline. So they may already have like a dev, and it's just, I would guess, me getting access to that. So they
Yeah,
would just
that's
need to
kinda
make a
what I-
profile for me. Yeah, but they
Okay.
probably have some sort of dev environment because as they're developing it now, I would assume. I really haven't seen it done any other way. So
Yeah, because that's why, that was one of the bouncing ball pieces, because like I said, I didn't want you guys to get started on our current website because they're redoing it. They're putting onto a new
yeah.
WordPress.
Sure, and I kept that in mind. So, the domain is remaining the same. So the page rank in the current state, that is what it is, no matter what site we're talking about here.
Right.
So, but that's a good thing, though. I mean, that means we can really, really start fresh, and anything that's hindering us currently won't be.
Right.
So,
A lot of it might. That's from what we discussed
yeah.
with this website developer in the very beginning. We discussed speed and mobile speed and those types of things. So I think, Sade, probably you and I need to get with Darcy, and we need to get a clear day on when these things are going to be done. We need to talk to the website developer and then probably CloudSpace just to see if they would be able to temporarily host this for us so that the developers can be done. We give Thrive the ability to do this, so then we can go live with the website when all of this is done.
Perfect.
Okay.
Does that, Mike, am I?
No, I think
right?
that's exactly, I'm with you 100%.
Okay. I just don't want you guys doing double work since we.
No, I don't want to do double work either.
Mike's like, oh, I like you guys, but not that much. Not for
I'll do it 5 times over. Yay. No, I don't want to do that. And that there's, I've had a client like wipe out all his title tags just as I just finished 50 pages. So yeah, I know. And I'm like, oh no, luckily I had them backed up. So it was just a lot of copying and pasting, but still.
Right. So we need to, okay. So I just got, Sade, you've got the list of kind of what we need to internally get checked off on, and then you and I can figure out who's going to do what.
Yeah, so I sent you guys the site map, still need approval on that. And then Darcy has the links to, I guess, whatever, I don't know what you call it, wherever they're hosting it right now. And she's reviewing that. So yeah, I think it's a good plan to check with her and see what, when we can get that information so we can send it over to them and then let Mike know.
Yeah, I think we need to just kind of say we need it by this day.
Mm-hmm.
It might be beneficial for us to do that because I know there's so many moving pieces. The site map, I think, is going to have to be, she and Rob are going to have to do the site map. So, okay.
Do you guys have a tentative launch date? I mean, any on the new site?
We want to do the launch right. So my thought is after you guys do your 30 days of getting things fixed.
Okay. I see.
So we wouldn't go live until the 30-day fix is done.
Okay.
So that the next step we can do is the content marketing piece. So we can look at making sure that we have consistency in phrases and words, and also talk about the backlinking strategy.
Right. Perfect.
Sade, that's right? That's kind of what we've all been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what I'll do, scratch the reporting and all that, because I'll wait to have that set up. Actually, the domain's not changing, so I could set that up. I'm sorry. Disregard. Yeah, that'll work. So I'll set up reporting and all that. The water graph, just as I said. So I just keep thinking in my mind your domain is changing for some reason, and that's not the case. So
Now, what about the since we're probably going to make changes to the sitemap,
Mhm.
will that affect any of the? I mean, some of the URLs will change, right? Although the domain stays the same.
Right. So then we would deploy something called a 301 redirect. So it would take that page that's indexed in Google,
Mhm.
and it would redirect that to the new URL. This way you don't hit a 404 error page.
Right. Okay.
So, and then that would preserve that ranking for that page. And then when the index would refresh, then the new URL would show up at that point.
Okay.
And I can do that as well. I can go through your current pages and then compare it to how that is changing. Excuse me. And then if we need to deploy a 301 redirect, we can do that.
Okay.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Sade, are you good?
Yeah, I think I'm good for now. I'm trying to find.
Yeah, fantastic. Let me know, and yeah, if they can get me access, and then like I said, I have everything documented now, so I kind of have the current state of the site the way it is. So, and again, that's all your tags and descriptions, and so.
Yeah.
If all else fails, I have that. So
yeah, well, and there's not a lot changing. I think it's just the updating the WordPress platform that it's built upon. So, and the speeds, from what I understand, from what we did with the initial kickoff, just a refresh of it. So,
well, great. That will make it more impactful in terms of what we're doing. So that'd be great.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking. So awesome.
Yeah. Well, guys, it was awesome meeting with you. I'm sorry I had to fight through my my cold or whatever this is that I picked up. So
no problem.
And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And then let's circle back in before the end of this month, just to kind of have a quick update as to where we're at and where we're going and all that good stuff.
Okay, sounds great.
Awesome. Well, Sade, thank you. And Melinda, thank you as well.
Thanks.
And I hope you guys have a great day.
You too. Thanks,
too.
Mike.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.